Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today, it's the Twilight Zone here at Stop Struggling Now. That's right, we're going to go over some finances, some old school teachings that were bogus. I want to hear your comments down below. And by the way, no Tifosi optics, but we still have merch. Please, down below, go get your merch at Stop Struggling Now, SSN merchandise link. And please, like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back. This Twilight Zone episode is going to be like, just think in your head, what if you're a one percenter? You're a person that needs to have employees. You're persons that need to pay as less in taxes and extra money as you can. And you're doing it on purpose. So welcome to the Twilight Zone episode of Stop Struggling Now. And I want to thank everybody for us reaching 5,000 plus subscribers now. Thank you for your support, and I appreciate it. Now, this is something that you might want to not have the children or kids watching, because in our society, a lot of people have been taught simple things straight out the box. Go to school, get an education, get a good job, retire with your gold watch. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this over the years, and I'm about to talk about the Twilight Zone episode here. So some of you, I want to hear the comments and see the comments down below after this episode, because this is sometimes something people want to talk about. So let's start with this right now. I'm going to show you something, because this right here is a person that made $40,000 a year in 1988, 32 years ago. That is the equivalent in 2020 of $87,465. How many of you can live on $87,000? That's right, we know the numbers, because I'm about to show you something else, because all subscribers know 60% of the population makes $39,000 or less right now in 2020. But did you know 50% of the population in America makes less than $30,000 a year right now? So all I'm trying to illustrate here is, in the Twilight Zone, think about that equation when they said, when you're 18, go to school, spend 4 years, 7 years, 9 years, depending on your profession, get a job, and then work there for the next 30 years, 35 years, until you're 60 something and retire. Twilight Zone. Now, I'm going to ask you something. If you would have retired in 1988 and they would have paid you, and I'm going to show you what they potentially could have paid you, but they would have paid you about $1,500 to $2,000 or $1,000 to $1,500 depending on Social Security. Here it is, 2020. If you're still alive, because of inflation, because of the printing of money, you do not make $87,000. You don't make the same amount of money that $40,000 used to buy before. And therefore, if you only make $1,500 a month, there's no way that you can live in an apartment, because you're not going to qualify. There's no way that you're going to live in an old folks home. there's no way that you can probably even take care of yourself. So the Twilight Zone has set you up to fail because of all the hype, because of a generation that got off and got over on that nonsense. Because from 1950s until around 2010, 2000, that may have been the playbook for success, where you wouldn't have to worry. But they never said anything about what if you don't work anywhere for 20 years? What if you don't work anywhere for 30 years? What if companies go out of business like in 2008, 2007, when just about what's going to happen right now? There's no way you can work somewhere for 30 years. So where's that extra income going to come from? You better decide right now, are you going to waste 4 or 5 years at school, or are you going to take your time and say, okay, let me spend 4 or 5 years of school trying to figure out how to become a millionaire, an emerging millionaire? Or are you going to pass it off? So let's get real. So here, let me give you guys something to think about in the Twilight Zone of America. Here's this Social Security. Notice the blue highlight. This is somebody who basically made $40,000 a year for 35 years. And everybody says, well, that's a long time. That's right. You can't retire. You start somewhere at 20 years old. 35 is 55. You're not stopping. You're 25, and then 35 years later, you're only 60. Most people basically can't even get Social Security anymore until you're 67, 68, 69. Does anybody know what life expectancy is in America? It's somewhere around 77 years old for male, 79 years old for female. That's it. So you're going to work 35 years to be free, as they say, for what? 10? On average. So I'm just saying. So you guys, I'm a 1%er. All these 1%ers around here are chomping at the bit going, man, we don't have to pay out pensions, but for 5 to 10 years, on average, half of the people are going to be dead. So we don't have to worry about that. And by the way, only 26, 27 million people are now on pensions because companies no longer want to carry that. So most people have their money in a 401k. And I'm going to get to that little fallacy in a second, because a lot of you are doing tax-deferred payments into a 401k plan, except there's one little problem. You're not going to know what the taxes are 25, 30 years from now. Simple. But you're thinking, oh, I'll be older, my tax rate's going to go lower. That's not exactly how it works. Inflation, cost of living keeps rising, and it's going to keep rising as they give 4, 10, 20, however many trillions of dollars they're printing up as we speak for this COVID-19 situation. So the Twilight Zone continues. As you can see, for $40,000 every year for 35 years, they're talking about on the Motley Fool that potentially you're going to have $1,579 per month. Do you really think in 35 years what you know right now, at 2055, you know rent's not going to cost no $1,300, $1,500, $1,000, whatever somebody pays, $2,000. You know a house isn't going to cost $250,000 or $300,000. It's inflation. You know good and well. Just like this $40,000 is really worth $87,000, you can easily count on everything being 2.5 times the amount right now. Can you imagine in 2055 a one-bedroom apartment's going to cost you $2,000, $2,500 a month, and that's going to be in the low-end neighborhood. If you want to live in a high-end neighborhood, can you imagine paying $3,000 a month? Come on. Twilight Zone. But this is what is being taught in America on the road to success. Not by me, of course. Because if you want to be successful, you have to start your own business. You have to start making your own additional income. You have to be the CEO of my life. That's a t-shirt we have. You have to be CEO of your life. You can't be CEO based on history. You can't be CEO because everybody did it right 30 years ago, 50 years ago. You have to adapt to today like an entrepreneur should. What's going on today doesn't work 30 years ago. This is why you have a situation right now where malls are dying, because what happened in 1970 and 80s and 90s doesn't work in 2020. People's habits change. And the same thing happens here with this Twilight Zone episode here, where people are listening to this crap even to this day. Go to school. You'll earn much more money. But they never talk about the 30, the 40, the 50, the 70, the 90, the 100K in student loans you need to go to school. Again, I'm a one percenter. What are we going to do? We can't have these people that we're telling to go to school, that they're cheap to go to school, like in the 1970s, 1960s, when it was affordable to go to school. Hell no. We're going to charge these people an arm and a leg. Why? Because we're going to monetize it. We're going to say school now costs $30,000 a year. We're going to have 1,000 students sign up. We're going to package all those into loans. And then we're going to sell it to Wall Street hedge funds and say, here, man, $30 million worth of stuff. How much you going to give me for it? And they say, well, we'll give you $10 million for it. They get their $10 million just for producing paper because you signed on a dotted line saying, I got a student loan. Now, you graduate, and now what happens? You don't get the job that you thought you were going to get, because why? It's the Twilight Zone. They didn't tell you that another, let's see, in May or June of every year, that another 5 million people graduated with the same degree. They just so happen to be from a different college. But how many jobs are available for that degree that you have? Oh, that's right. One percenters don't tell you that, but you got a loan to pay. You have people like Cabinet Member Betsy DeVos that has educational loan situations. That's how she makes millions. Her family makes multiple millions of dollars because they actually have the loan, the paper. There's a reason they want you to get these loans. And why? Because now I can implement my game plan, because not only do you not have a job, you still owe me money. I get to attach it to your credit. You got to go down here and get slave labor, $15 an hour, $18 an hour, $10 an hour after you have a degree that you were told go to school, get a great education, get A's, and there'll be something great awaiting you. Sure, you're in the top of the class. Sure, you made plans before you graduated like me, and you had businesses already going on, so it really didn't matter. You were at your leisure where you could find a job that paid you what you wanted to get paid. But a lot of people graduate and do not have this opportunity, and now you have the top 1% of the class. Sure, they get nice jobs, but the remaining 98, 99%, they get to go talk to mom and dad, talk to family members, and they're all going, you graduated, you got a degree, you should be happy. And you're going, oh yeah, I owe like 70 grand, and it's been 4 months, I haven't been able to get the job that I want. And then, of course, the next thing comes up, the 9-to-5ers say, oh, just get any job so you can pay your bills. In the Twilight Zone. Come on, comment down below. How many people know what I'm talking about? And I know there's a lot. So we're going to keep going here. As you can see with this figure for Social Security, they're talking about $1,579 right now. In 32 years ago, in 1988, and you spent 32 years making $40,000 a year, which obviously isn't that much. From 1988, it's kind of a lot. In the year 2020, not a lot, but still, you retired, you're 60 years old, they go, oh yeah, here's your $1,579 per month. They're just like, this is supplemental for you. So you should have put some money in a mutual fund. You should have bought some IRA, or put your money in an IRA, and maybe you should have done your employer plan and put it in a mutual fund or a 401k IRA. All right, let's talk about this. I'm a one percenter. I have thousands of people working, and I tell them, put it in my preferred XYZ mutual fund, or put it in this 401k over here. Come on, people. You're giving your money to somebody else. They're using your money. They're charging you a yearly annual fee. Yeah. I know you guys that have mutual funds and you go, there's a no load, whatever. Listen to me. Let's talk about this. First of all, you're giving your money to somebody else. You're not investing it yourself. Self-employed, people who have LLCs, you can do self-directed IRAs. You can put an LLC in place to run the IRA or Roth, whatever you want to do, trust funds. But anyhow, that's another story. But here in the Twilight Zone, you have people now who are employed and they're sitting there listening to their employer say, we're going to do match funding. Oh, but I'm a 1%er. That's right. We're going to match fund. That's right. Put all your money over there, as much as you can allocate per month, over into this designated mutual funds, 401k that we're saying we're helping you out. Never mind that maybe I might own it. But okay, let's say I don't, but 1%er, my other friends might own it. Give me a kickback, whatever. Point is, you're giving your money to somebody else. The 1%ers, Wall Street, hedge funds, they have your money. And they get to make lots of interest and percentages on your money. Keyword, your. So now, these mutual funds, hedge funds, Wall Street, they have, in essence, millions of employees giving money in. They have billions of dollars. I'm going to use an example, even though Warren Buffett, everybody knows, is Berkshire Hathaway. And I'm not saying he's holding mutual funds and things like that, but I'm going to use him as an example because with his Berkshire Hathaway, literally what I'm talking about is what literally happens. I'm not saying he does it. What I'm trying to illustrate is you ship all your money to Warren Buffett, let's say. He sits on $500 billion. Just like right now, I believe he has $32 billion in cash on the sidelines waiting for the economy to rot to hell so then he can buy up companies. This is what they do with your money. And then they're going to tell you, oh, it's a downturn in the economy. See, that $1 million you had over there, well, we lost 10% this year from the investments. Meanwhile, they're using your money. They can tell you anything is what I'm trying to say. They could say you made 6% a year. Meanwhile, they done made 30% this year. Do you not understand what I'm saying? You don't have access to your funds, nor their paperwork, nor their numbers. But you're saying I'm good because my 401 went up. My mutual fund has risen. Meanwhile, their funds have risen so much, it outpaces anything you can dream of. They swap money amongst themselves. Banks, I'm talking about. They do all investment banks. You guys got to read up on all this kind of thing. This is a story. The Twilight Zone this is. Okay, here's what I'm talking about. So you have your money locked up. Look at here. Right here, as you can see, I'm talking about your 401k. People are kind of confused, and I have it right here. If you withdraw your money before 59.5, you will pay a 10% early withdrawal penalty. That's normal. Some places charge even more than that. Not on top of that, you're going to have to pay income tax on that early money you take out, because remember, that money you put in there is allegedly deferred. It's not drawn off, it's deferred. So I'm going to get into that after this in the Twilight Zone. So you can see here, for someone in the 24% tax bracket, which is most people, an early 401k withdrawal of $5,000 means it will cost you $1,700 of your $5,000. They're going to send you a check for $3,300. Well, actually, it's going to be less than that. It's going to be like $2,800 because they're going to take the 10% and they're going to take the $1,700. So that's easily, let's call it $3,000. I'll round $3,000 is what you're going to have left over because you withdraw at your 401k before 59 and a half. Your own money. Do you understand now? Maybe not. So here we go here. You go, Eric, no worries, I got it in a mutual fund. Well, they're almost on the same plan. So again, 10% penalty, 25% of your cash and shares and all this, that, and the other. Basically, you're taxed. So yeah, you're taxed, deferred tax, whatever you. But you're still taxed at whatever the tax rate is now 30 years later, 25 years later, which is going to be higher than it was when you put your money in there in the first place. I'm hoping people are still here and understand what I'm trying to say. Because again, the key factors here is you gave someone else your money. You said, I want this money to sit over here for all these years. And then after the fact, I'm going to pay taxes on it again. So I was taxed at first for part of my money that I basically held and that I didn't put it into a 401k or a mutual fund or any other retirement plan. So I paid the normal tax rate all these years. And then that money that I put into the retirement plan, when I withdraw it after I'm 60 some years old, I'm going to pay tax on that as well. Can't get away from tax, it seems. Which also, as you know, tax takes away your wealth. So if you can avoid that, that would be a good thing. So if you actually, look, I'm going to put a link down below for a do-it-yourself banking. You bank with yourself and put that money towards your own bank. There'll be a link down below. Check out this webinar. All right? Check it out. That might change your whole life. All right. Now, let's continue this Twilight Zone that people seem to think they're in. This is what I was talking about earlier when people start talking about go to school, get an education, and most of you have heard these before. If you stay in high school graduates earn on average almost $30,000 per year. All right. That's cute. But the thing is, they don't tell you high school graduates that have trades earn a hell of a lot more than that. Carpenter, roofer. If you have a skill, you make a lot more than that. Think about this. When you take your car in for an auto mechanic and they charge you $100 an hour. Sure, the store gets the $100 an hour. They pay the mechanic like $30, $35 an hour. Come on. There's people out here that have degrees and don't even earn $30, $35 an hour. Let's get real. Now, you guys have been in school. The school counselor calls you up and says, hey, you got to go to college. Because look here, high school graduates only earn like $30,000 per year. And you're like, oh my God, I can't. Whoa, wait, that is messed up. That's not a lot of money. So then they give you this. Yeah, but see, you go get your bachelor's degree. And then that changes everything. You can earn like $50,000 a year on average. And if you stay in school a lot longer than 4 to 5 years and you stay there like 7, 9, 10 years, now you're getting a master's, a doctorate, you're going to average nearly $70K or more. You should probably be making like $100,000 a year. You'll be a 1%er. That's what they're telling you. Except they're not telling you what the cost is to you personally. They're assuming for whatever reason, I guess, that your family's part of the 1% club and can afford to pay $20,000 a year or $30,000 a year for 7 years or $40,000 a year. I mean, I don't know. The school teacher that's sitting there, the counselor telling you, isn't even making more than, high school graduates. Why don't you guys find out how much teachers make, how much counselors at a high school make that are telling you to do this crap? That's right. Listening to 9 to 5 people tell you what to do. In the Twilight Zone. Come on! All right. Let's see. I'm losing my train of thought, and here we are. America's middle class is vanishing. Nearly half of workers earn less than $30,000. Do you not see this, ladies and gentlemen? This is from 2017. What do you think is going to happen in 2020 after all these stores have closed, after this corona situation happens? This is going to go up because a lot of people are going to be out of work. Companies are going to close down. Right now we have over 30 million people filing for unemployment. 30 million, which now means a whole bunch of people, millions more, are not even going to earn $30,000 this year. So if you think 50% is bad, it's already going to be at 60% in a month. 6 out of 10 people walking down the street makes less than $30,000 a year, ladies and gentlemen. So much for all that BS they were telling you in school about, hey, go over here, get an education, go to school, pay all this stuff, and you'll be set for life. Come on, get out of the Twilight Zone. All right, let's get down to it. The funny part is, I was talking about the mutual funds. And the funny part is, this is, I thought was kind of funny. Here are 5 ways to reduce outrageous fees charged by investment industry. Choose stocks over closed-end funds. And they were talking about mutual funds. First, don't trade in your mutual fund because, that'll cause you tax issues. Don't buy new issues. Don't pay attention to target. And then number 5, don't buy mutual funds. I found that kind of hilarious. Yeah, but yet, as an employee, they're going, hey, man, put your money in this mutual fund over here. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. And then down here, I was talking about the fees that there's a lot of people, a lot of guys say, well, invest with Vanguard, invest with these guys. Not all funds have an associated, not all funds have an associated load, which are called no-load funds. However, as they show here, all funds charge annual expenses to the fund's operating costs. You see this? Management fees, distribution service fees, commonly known as 12B-1 fees. And there's more fees. Yeah, okay, sure, it might be 0.05%. It might be 0.1%. Who knows? It's that small of a number that you don't really pay attention to it. But the thing is, they're siphoning off your money every month. I'm a 1%er. So all I can say is thank you very much because I own the fund. I appreciate all you guys, all you employees putting billions of dollars in this fund. Thank you so much. Will somebody start doing a couple $1 billion times 1%? Come on. You guys going to get a clue yet? You might want to be in that position versus your position working 40 to 50 hours a week, running yourself ragged while the guys that own the company are on vacation. The guys you're sending money to every week that you get a check, maybe it's 100, maybe it's 50, maybe it's 200, whatever you pay, maybe you want to be in their position. And how do you do that? You start thinking how you get in that position. All right, enough. The Twilight Zone's almost over. Because this is last but not least, but back in the day they used to have pensions. They still have pensions where if you work somewhere for 35 years, when you retire, they give you almost as much as you were earning. Those days used to be sweet. If you made $40,000 back in the day in 1988 and you had one of these pension plans, you could be making $70,000 a year now from the pension. The only problem is companies are finding themselves where they can't fund the pension because the retirees are living longer. And now Their profit margins might have shrunk. They might not even have the same amount of employees to offset the cost that could be dumped into the pension. There's a problem. And in Illinois, Chicago, and a few other companies like Sears, there's a situation over pensions, which we're going to include your health insurance. And in the case of Sears, they no longer want to cover the health insurance part of the pension. So now you have people who are in retirement age trying to go out here and find health care. Well, you know that's going to cost an arm and a leg, because the older you are, the more health care is going to cost. But yet, they believe the hype, and I'm not faulting them, because back in the day, companies were more solid. They stayed pretty much in business. They took care of their retirees. But now, when money is slim and hard to come by, they're saying, I'm sorry, we can't do it. And when they sell themselves, like Sears was sold to ESL, now ESL is under no obligation to pay those pensions if they didn't want to, or they're trying to get out of it. I mean, they are under an obligation in reality, but they're trying to get out of it. That's why they're going to go to court, trying not to have to pay it. Just like a severance package. They don't want to pay severance packages for people that worked at Sears and now are being laid off and let go. They don't want to pay a severance package. That's extra money. So these are the kind of things you have to think about here in America's Twilight Zone while you're drinking the Kool-Aid. Because I'm going to tell you something. Those 4 years or 5 years you spent at school studying books, studying sociology, studying rocks, studying biology, studying calculus, you could have spent 3 or 4 years working on your own business, and you would have been further ahead, making money, making more than what your peers are going to earn, running around looking for a job, begging for a job, because that's what it's going to be when 30 million people are out of work. You're going to be all begging for the same 10 jobs, begging for the same 2 jobs when you show up, begging for the same 25 jobs in the building. There'll be a line wrapped around buildings when somebody has a job offer that's going to pay anything with a decent wage. There'll always be the $10 an hour jobs, the $12, the $15 an hour jobs. But how many people who went to school for 4 years doesn't want a $35, $40, $45 an hour job? When those open up, how many people do you think is going to show up? Not only are the people who graduated this year going to show up, the people who lost their job is going to show up. The people who graduate in the fall is going to show up. The people who are going to graduate in the spring of next year is going to show up. Or spring of last year are going to show up. Or summer of last year are going to show up because they still haven't found that decent paying job. You still drinking the Kool-Aid? You still in the Twilight Zone? I hope not, because here at Stop Struggling Now, this is what we're trying to do, is trying to get you out of the Twilight Zone. Trying to get you out of that matrix. So therefore you can depend on yourself, not beholden to anybody, and you can self-direct your own funds how you want to do it. And this is why I've been advocating, start thinking about acting like a 1%er. Start putting your money away. And if the stock market goes down, so be it. But at least you started an investment plan. And again, a plan is better than no plan. And you have to think long term. You have to think about where do you want to be 10 years from now, 15 years from now, and all you have to do is step by step. If you can save $5 a month right now, then save $5 a month. If you can save $15 a month, save 15. If you can save 100, save 100. If it's 1,000, 1,000. But you have to self-direct it. Don't let it sit in somebody's fund or where you can't access or it's not liquid. I would not advise that in this environment, because any day now this economy goes crashing down or it can skyrocket back up. You just never know because there's so much manipulation going on. Generally, I know this is long. I hope you're still with me. Thank you for listening. But if oil goes under $20 a barrel, which it is now, it went down under $15 a barrel today. In the old days, that used to mean we're going down. The stock market's going down. All right? When the inverted yield curve used to occur back in the day, that meant the stock market's going down, defying all odds with 30 million people out of work. There's more than that actually, but 30 million as unemployment have applied for it. That doesn't even account for everybody before them that applied. That doesn't account for everybody who fell off the rolls because they no longer get unemployment. There's literally potentially 60, 70, 80 million people out of work that is legitimately qualified for a good job. And none of those people are going to feel very secure shortly after this rubble happens from this COVID situation, and businesses are gone, and you're going to find out you can't get rehired. That's going to wreak havoc in the housing industry. That's going to wreak havoc across the board. So these are the things you have to think about. And those people who put themselves in position starting in late 1990s, 2000, 2010, 2015, 2018, when I even showed up on the scene and you started saying, let me figure out how I can make money online. Right about now, you would be kind of happy because you might have a little money coming in from your online activities. So all I can say is, let's get out of the Twilight Zone and start thinking about what you can do to improve yourself down the road if the world's greatest economy goes down the toilet. You have to have other sources of income, and I've been talking about the 7 streams of income like the average millionaire has this whole time. So now is the time. And by the way, get that free stock. Use the Webull link down below. Robinhood link, please, down below. Any one of those, get your free stock. Tell your friends. Anyone 18 and over, use the link, or once you sign up, have them use your link so you can get some free shares of stock when you share the link as well. And I want to thank everybody for watching the videos, because I actually started a membership situation here. And for anybody that wants to support the channel, you can now do so by paying a monthly membership fee, and then it escalates up from there. And I'll have some additional perks for members that are on the YouTube channel. It's only for a YouTube channel. The extra perks don't apply anywhere else, only on the YouTube channel. So I want to thank everybody. And with all that said, please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And you know it's hard out here. And I hope I illustrated how hard it's going to be out here. So I'm hoping that some of you are going to start and seriously consider when you're looking around on social media, because what else is there to do if you're out of work or laid off or have to be around where the kids, you got to go get them and stay with them, whatever the case may be. Instead of looking at something on the internet, look at something with a different point of view, like a 1%er. How can I take advantage of making additional money? That's the thing you should be thinking about, instead of watching these funny videos and people having fun and clowning about and all that. That's nice in your leisure time, but think about the 5 minutes, the 10 minutes, the 15 minutes of time that you spent or longer that you could have just spent 5 to 10 to 15 minutes to promote something that you like to promote, something that you're passionate about. And just because somebody doesn't see your dream doesn't mean you're supposed to stop. 1%ers are 1%ers for a reason. 99% of the population doesn't see that same dream. So you can't go based on somebody else's ideas, thoughts, or dreams. You have to go for your own. And if you want to be a 1%er or a 10%er, then you have to do what 90% of the population is not doing. So stop being like a little sheep and get out there and be like the sheep herder. All right? Be a 1%er. Be a top 10%er. They own 84% of the stock market. Just so you know. So with all that said, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.